Let's discuss about the first law of thermodynamics. Now, in first law of thermodynamics, it's a very simple law. See what we talk about. If you guys remember the law of conservation of energy, the same thing is applied for heat. That's all. That is the first law of thermodynamics. Okay, so what it tells basically in layman terms is, suppose say you give heat energy to the system. Okay, now this heat energy is converted into other forms of energy. Basically, this is first law of thermodynamics. Okay, now to be a little more specific about what we are doing and what is happening, suppose say you give energy to the system. See, two things can happen. Okay, the first one, suppose if the energy is within the system, okay, that whatever energy you're giving, then internal energy increases, correct? And the second one is that suppose say, that whatever energy you're giving tries to leave the system, then work is done by the system, and whenever that energy is given, correct? Two things can happen. Now, since we know that two things are happening, let's try to formulate it. Suppose say delta Q is the energy given to the system by the surrounding. Okay, let's say this delta Q. Delta U, it is the internal energy. Alright, and then delta W is the work done by the system to the surrounding. Alright, then what you have is delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. This is what we call as the first law of thermodynamics. Here, the delta U is there, right? This is not going to depend on the initial and final path, whatever you have. Alright? But delta Q and delta U separately, individually, that depends on what path you're taking. Okay, or you can also say that it is the final and initial state are important. For delta Q separately, delta W separately. But the difference, that is delta Q minus this one, that is the delta W value, that is independent of it. Okay, so this is the mathematical expression for the first law of thermodynamics. Again, first law of thermodynamics represents what? It is the law of conservation of energy, but with respect to heat energy. Okay, now there are certain explanation and how we are going to use this first law in different scenarios. One of them we are going to study in the next video.